my top 10 hated characters, or actually top 9 hated characters. Most overdone countdown topic in the whole countdown community. For every character in video games that we tend to love, there's a bunch more that people just really seem to hate. And this is not a list about the top 10 characters that are most hated in video games, just most hated by me. I mean, you could if I wanted to do most hated of all, I could probably just do a countdown that's a voting one. But anyway, this list is going to be the top 9 characters that I hate the most. Now, couple things to keep in mind. One per franchise on the games I've played. Also, I haven't played a lot of the games that have the big ones when it comes to hated characters. You know, Jasper, Brat, Jr., Porky, Minch, Count Baker, blah blah blah. So yeah, I won't be able to put them on the list. But one more thing, why is this a top 9? Well, I had trouble coming up with a 10th entry. So here's what I'm going to do. Since I feel bad about giving you guys another top 9, here's a list of a bunch of other characters that I hate. And in the description, I will have descriptions of why I hate all of them. But one more thing. I bet you're wondering how I managed to get this video out so fast, because the polls have just closed. Well, the thing is, these polls are pretty easy to predict. Anyone who's going to vote usually votes on the first day or so. And judging from the comments, I was kind of able to predict which one was going to win in the end. So I got to work and made this. So now with all that said, now let's begin.
Crashing's too good for him. First, he'll spend a year in the incinerator. Year 2, cryogenic refrigeration wing. Then, 10 years in the chamber I built where all the robots scream at you. Then, I'll kill him.
Wait a second. Sid from Epic Mickey? Why do I hate him? Yeah, I know, it kinda seems like a weird choice. I mean, this friendly wizard who creates a world for all the unwanted, unloved characters. I know it seems weird that I'd hate this guy. I mean, that sounds like a really admirable thing to do. But this guy clearly doesn't care about it whatsoever. Here, let me explain this. Okay, I can forgive him leaving his tools out after he went to bed. I mean, it's not every day when some random stranger comes bursting in through your mirror. Unless, of course, that's a common occurrence for this guy, in which case, yeah, that was a pretty dumb decision to leave your stuff out. This guy constantly watches over Wasteland. After all, how else could he narrate Mickey and Oswald's adventures? The reason I hate him is because his world that he created and cares about is on the brink of peril on 3 separate occasions, and he does absolutely nothing to fix it. Sure, you could argue that the Stormblood being unleashed and the Mad Doctor taking over both happened suddenly and he didn't notice in time and Mickey saved it, but how did he not notice the Thinner disaster and the first occurrence of the plot? Seriously, tons of time had passed since Mickey had caused the Thinner disaster, so clearly he wasn't paying attention. What, was he too busy giving exposition in Kingdom Hearts games? I wouldn't call Sid evil. I mean, listening to his narrations, it sounds pretty genuine. I doubt he's evil, but he's pretty irresponsible, and considering he's watching over an entire world, that's not a good combination.
Built where all the robots scream at you. Then, I'll kill him.
Zelda Skyward Sword is a game that's mixed among many Zelda fans. I find it good, with a couple flaws including Moldarak and the padding, but overall a pretty good game. However, probably the biggest problem with the game would be Fee. Now, granted, Fee as a character, personality-wise, is kind of a robot, and kind of sounds like a majestic version of GLaDOS, which actually would be a pretty interesting concept if they didn't screw it up. What's so bad about Fee? How about the fact that she never stops talking? Which wouldn't be a problem if she had anything useful to say, but she normally just restates what another character just told you of what you need to do. You can press down at any time when you're not in a cutscene, obviously, to ask for Fee's help on certain things. However, most of the time, it's either something obvious or something pointless, and occasionally analyzing an enemy, which might be helpful to you. Also, let's not forget the most annoying part about Fee's annoyingness, your health system. You see, in most Zelda games, there's a really loud, annoying beeping sound that happens, whenever you're low on health to indicate that you're low on health. It's very annoying, but I can see what they were going for. Skyward Sword, though, that wasn't enough. You see, in Skyward Sword, there are two beeps. One is your health that's really low, and the other is Fee blinking, so you can call her, and she tells you that your health is low, as if it wasn't already obvious enough with the beeping and flashing of your health system. I really wanted to like Fee, as there are some good aspects about her, but her just constant obvious pointing out the obvious and not being helpful in the slightest really dampened it for me.
Built where all the robots scream at you. Then I'll kill him.
Oh yeah, the whole 21 of you who actually watch my Let's Play channel saw this one coming. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I don't like Dunby from LEGO City Undercover. I really don't. He's just a loud, annoying boss who's mean to everybody. And that's kind of it. But no, he actually is worse than that. At the beginning of the game, he straight out denies that Rex Fury escaped from prison, even though it's painfully obvious that he did. Heck, if it weren't for Frank spilling the beans after he crashed the truck into the police station, you'd have to do all of your work on the Rex Fury investigation behind Dunby's back, because he's still in denial of Rex's existence. Also, for a second, I'd like to talk about Dunby and the Rex Fury investigation. You see, in LEGO City Undercover The Chase Begins, the prequel to this game, and not a very good game overall, some things happen. For starters, Chase accidentally reveals the identity of a witness who was testifying against Rex, Natalia Kowalski, and Dunby ended up making the actual arrest for Rex Fury. The problem is the fact that Chase did all the work, and Dunby was the one who took the credit. Not to mention, Dunby holds this mistake against Chase forever for revealing Natalia's identity, and she had to go into witness protection. And the thing is, Chase was actually supposed to get a promotion for arresting Rex, but instead Dunby took the credit and convinced everyone to ship Chase across to the other side of the world for 2 years, just because of one little mistake. Also, something that's pretty unpoliceman-like of Dunby is later in the game, Chase ends up saving Natalia from Chan's scrapyard. And how does Dunby react to this? He punishes Chase by sending him all the way to Sheriff Huckleberry's district, which has no crime whatsoever, so he can't work on the Rex Fury case. Let me say that again. Dunby, the chief of police, punished a police officer for saving somebody. The reason Dunby's not higher on the list is for two reasons. One, he actually does have some pretty funny moments, particularly with Forrest Blackwell pointing out how he sleeps during work. And towards the end of the game, he actually does start to respect Chase as someone who actually did a lot of work, and even offers to let him arrest Rex Fury this time, even though Chase refuses. It was still a nice gesture of Dunby, and that's why he's not higher on the list.
Built where all the robots scream at you. Then I'll kill him.
Introducing your partner in Pikmin 2, and not a very good one, Louie. Louie is a character who managed to screw everything up through his massive appetite. Let me put it this way, this guy's more of a glutton than Owen from Total Drama. But unlike Owen, this guy is extremely unlikable. Here, let me show all the ways his hunger ruins everything. The main plot of Pikmin 2 is that you have to recover debt from the company because on Louie's mission, he was delivering a huge load of golden pig carrots when a ravenous space bunny ate all of them, so you need to get a bunch of treasures to repay the loan. But as it turns out, Louie ate all those carrots. Yeah, I'm dead serious. Louie ate all the pig carrots. And then, he went back to the boss and said, "Oh yeah, it was a ravenous space bunny. Yeah, it totally wasn't me who depleted your entire inventory." Oh, and just to keep the secret from getting out, once you repay the debt, instead of going back with Olimar, Louie just heads down to the bottom of the Dream Den and hides out there. And once Olimar and the President get down there, he tries to kill them. Now, I know what you're saying, but wait, isn't it the Titan Dweeble who's doing it? No, it's not. In the Titan Dweeble's Piglopedia entry, it clearly says that it's a pretty harmless and non-malicious creature. And in Louie's treasure entry, it says he has a special connection with bugs. And considering this is dark secret, it's pretty obvious that he's the one trying to kill you. But would you believe me if I told you that he's even worse in Pikmin 3? Yeah, he is. After you save this guy from the Scornet Maestro, know what he does? The next day he lands the SS Drake in the Garden of Hope, and then runs away. Oh, but that's not the only thing. He also stole the captain's rubber ducky. And he stole all your food. Yeah, that's right. He stole all your food that you've been working so hard in the game to stockpile. He stole all of it. Granted, you get it all back in the end, but that's just because Louie didn't have enough time to eat it because he got eaten by the Quagmire Clops. Also, here's another thing I gotta point out. You see, Pikmin 3, while taking place from a different perspective, takes place after the events of Pikmin 2. Which means Louie and Olimar were sent on another mission. Which means that the president didn't fire Louie. You'd think trying to kill your own boss would constitute getting fired.
Built where all the robots scream at you. Then I'll kill him.
Spongebob Battle for Bikini Bottom is just plain awesome. It's pretty much a love letter to all Spongebob fans. And when Fawful's Minion said this was one of his favorite games of all time, he had pretty good reason to do so. And they bring back, a lot of the characters from the show that everyone liked. However, there is one character that they have here that I'm not overly fond of, and that would be the freaking Newscaster fish. I didn't mind him much in the show because the segments were few and far between, but here, there are 3 TVs, and whenever you go up to them, you have an overlong news report from him. And it's just a pretty unpleasant thing, but he wouldn't be on his this list if it was just for that. It's his role in the boss fights. Oh, his role in the boss fights. Pretty much, this guy probably took shutting up lessons from Fee. No, I'm dead serious. This guy never stops talking during the boss fights. And the music in the boss fights is awesome. You're never going to hear it, but believe me, it's awesome. But you never get to hear it because of this guy, because he never shuts up, constantly being, I guess SpongeBob won't be winning that way, or things are not looking good for the robot, and never stops talking. And it almost feels like he's insulting you. You know what? I can't really do how much I hate this guy justice right here. If you want to see it, just check out the finale for SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom on my Let's Play channel. Trust me, you'll probably get a lot better rage there than you do here.
Built where all the robots scream at you. Then I'll kill him.
If you guys have seen Top 10 Mario villains, you know I think Fawful is a freaking amazing villain. And what is there not to like about him? He's funny. He knows what he's doing, he's in your face constantly, but he never gets annoying. He's just overall one of the best villains in gaming, and makes a great villain for a game like this. So will someone please explain to me the point of Dark Bowser? Seriously, was this character needed at all? Pretty much what happens is Dark Bowser comes in at the very end of the game, right the heck out of nowhere, and pretty much steals the story from Fawful. No, I'm not kidding. I mean, Fawful would have made a great final boss. Instead, we get the most bland character in gaming history. No, I'm dead serious. I don't think I've ever seen a character more bland than this guy. And considering some of the characters I've seen, that is saying a lot. Granted, the fight with him is pretty fun, but wouldn't something like this work a lot better as, I don't know, a secret boss, as opposed to the final boss that's supposed to wrap up the story? Seriously, we go from this funny, fun, entertaining, and overall enjoyable villain who actually is pretty good at his job, to the most bland, pointless, and overall unenjoyable cardboard cutout of a villain ever. In fact, a cardboard cutout of Bowser would be a better villain. At least that would be kind of funny, but no, we're stuck with this guy, who is just, I'm dark, I'm going to envelop the whole world in darkness, blah blah blah, even though that wasn't even built up at all in the game whatsoever. So why should we care about this guy? Really? Why couldn't we have Fawful as the final boss? Why?
Built where all the robots scream at you. Then I'll kill him.
Challenge time. Try to find someone who's played Cave Story who actually likes the Doctor. Go ahead, I'll wait. If you're here watching this video now, that means you've probably given up, because let's face it, everyone hates this guy. Basically, he tagged along with the research team up to the island in the sky as a medical guy, but obviously he was faking and just stole the demon crown and took control of the two guardians of the island, I guess, Balrog and Misery. And he's trying to take over the world in the most brutal way possible. He basically kidnaps these cute little bunny people called Mamigas and then forces them to eat these flowers, the red flowers or the death flowers or something along those lines, and it turns them all rabid and loses all sense of reasoning and just turns them evil, and he's gonna use them to take over the world, I guess. I really don't know. Not to mention he kills King, the leader of the Mamiga village, which also adds to some hate points for this guy. Later in the game, he's managed to concentrate the power of the red flowers into the red crystal, and then you start the fight with him. Oh, and the fight with him? Don't even get me started. The first phase of the fight is incredibly easy, him using the red crystal just to shoot really predictable blasts at you. I guess occasionally the red crystal block you, and very rarely he will explode a bunch of red orb things. Still not as boring as the Dark Jewel, though. Then there's the second phase of the fight where he finds out, oh herpaderp, apparently when you use an all-powerful, all-corrupting power source as your primary weapon, it can, I don't know, corrupt you. And now the fight goes from really easy to really hard pretty quickly. But then, after this, there's the final boss. Apparently the red crystal kept this guy alive, so then he mutates Sue and Misery, and then possesses the island core for the fight with the undead core. And, okay, I gotta admit, the fight with the undead core is pretty freaking awesome. Also, it seems like this guy's trying to go above and beyond with how much of a jerk he can be. Not only does this guy mutate Mamigas to do his evil bidding, but even had Misery turn several of his former co-workers into Mamigas so he could then mutate them to do his evil bidding. I mean, really? Dude, really? This is especially sick when you consider the fact that the one he constantly targets is Sue, who was originally the daughter of the leader of the expedition. But for some reason he constantly wants to target her. I have no idea why. Also, this seems like a weird pet peeve of mine, but I really don't like villains who treat their subordinates like crap. I mean, I can understand them doing to, the hero or innocent bystanders because, they're the bad guy. But when these people are willing to help you, granted you might be paying them or they might be slaves, you shouldn't abuse them. I mean, there are villains like Fawful, Count Black, Mennonite who actually have some respect for their subordinates, but nope, not this guy. He beat up Misery just because she got the wrong Mamiga. Seriously, what is wrong with him? So now I bet you're all wondering, who could be worse than the Doctor? Well, you're about to see.
Built where all the robots scream at you. Then I'll kill him.
Oh great, Manfred von Karma. Yeah, I really hate this guy. Pretty much, he's just really an annoying guy to go up against in the court, and there are many reasons why. For starters, this guy has a record of never losing a case in 25 years, which at first you think might be impressive, like, this guy's a really good lawyer. But no, he gets it by forging evidence, creating false testimonies, and trying to run the case himself, to the point of even trying to do the judge's job for him. Also, if you object to anything and it's not the exact evidence you need, Von Karma is going to be quick to shut you up and sometimes can even get you a strike for no real reason, just because he hates you that much. Trust me, you wouldn't believe how annoying it is to go up against this guy in the courtroom. But the worst part about Von Karma was the DL6 incident. Pretty much your rival Edgeworth, his father, and the bailiff Yanni Yogi got trapped in an elevator during an earthquake, and he started attacking Edgeworth's father, and Edgeworth threw his dad's gun into there trying to break it up, but he heard it go off, and he thought that he had killed his father, because when he woke up his father was dead. Oh, but as it turned out, guess what really happened? It hit Von Karma, and then the elevator doors opened, and he killed Edgeworth's dad. Why? Because he pointed out the one mistake that Von Karma made. So yeah, just because of one blemish on his record, he had to kill the guy who pointed it out. At least you finally managed to take this guy down in the end, but let me tell you, it's a really frustrating experience going up against him.
Built where all the robots scream at you. Then I'll kill him.
Bertrand. Freaking Bertrand. I friggin' hate this guy. Pretty much, here's some of the stuff he does. He's convinced all of New Marais to join him in his conquest to destroy all conduits because apparently they're incredibly dangerous. You know, despite the fact that anything that actually would be a danger to them was caused by him. First off, he's taken over the New Marais with his gang of militiamen who pretty much ignore all basic human rights, attack anyone who they suspect of being a conduit, and several other things. His militia are so dumb, in fact, that at one point in the game, when you're escorting Zeke and a truck full that clearly has a nuke on it, the militia are shooting at it. In fact, all this hatred of conduits is pretty hypocritical, considering the fact that Bertrand himself is a conduit. Oh, and the way this guy got his powers is just as despicable as everything else he's done. Pretty much, he detonated a ray sphere with a bunch of people nearby, pretty much just people who he thought, would go unnoticed if they were missing, and killed pretty much all of them. Oh, and that's not even touching upon what Bertrand does to any conduits he gets. Anyone who comes to him willingly, he turns into hideous swamp creatures. And anyone he captures gets turned into these weird ice soldiers who are insane. Oh, and then both camps, he ships all over the world to any warlord who's willing to pay him, and use them to, fight their wars, and pretty much be used as living weapons. So yeah, this guy is willing to kickstart an entire genocide just because of his fear of conduits. Oh, and the only reason he shipped them across was to get everyone afraid of conduits, because, according to him, they're not part of the divine plan and they're products of science. So that results in everyone killing them. Seriously, what is this guy's logic here? Oh, actually no, I do know. Cole summed it up perfectly in his conversation with Bertrand before the final fight with him. Bertrand thought the ray sphere was going to turn him into some sort of shiny superhuman, but instead it turned him into a giant 50-foot maggot, which is actually pretty fitting for this guy. Oh, but let me tell you, it was so satisfying when you finally got to take this guy down. I am Defossilizer, and I like the boss fight with Bertrand. Wait, that's not good enough of an exit statement. I like Infamous despite Bertrand being terrible. I don't know, I'm running out of material.